Samys. Thank you, David, for letting us be a part of your photo school. And we're really honored to be here. And obviously, thank you to all of you who are out there right now. We appreciate you taking the time. I've been fortunate enough to see this presentation a few times, and it is just one of the most fantastic presentations I've ever seen. And I love it. And I think you guys are going to get a ton out of this. But like David said, I'll be monitoring the chat. So if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in. And I'll do the best I can to answer. Same with Tracie. Let's see. Also, before I turn it over, I just want to thank you, Tracie, for taking the time too. If you guys don't know who Tracie is, she'll of course talk about herself, but she is a Profoto Legend of Light based out of Cincinnati. And she is a portrait, wedding, newborn photographer who's just one of the best in the biz. And with that said, I think I'll stop talking and I'll hand it over to you, Tracie. It's all you.
Sounds good. Hopefully you all can hear me. There is a tiny lag on my side, so if you put in a question and I don't answer it right away, it isn't because I don't like you. It is because I am experiencing a little lag, and you'll hear from me shortly. So welcome to this class on couples posing. For those of you who do portrait photography, it's likely that you have been in situations where you go into a shoot and you have no idea what to do after you get there. It's like your brain just totally shuts down and you forget everything that you need to do for posing. If that's you, if it's ever happened to you in any kind of portrait situation, especially weddings or an engagement session, this is definitely the class for you. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself, just so you can have a frame of reference. So I've been in photography for about 14 years, and I started kind of accidentally photographing pictures of my children. And before long, friends were asking me to photograph their children. And so that's kind of how it all started. And pretty soon people were like, how much do I need to pay you to have you photograph my children? And from there, I grew my love of maternity and newborn photography. And of course, weddings came soon after that because, once people get married, then they get babies. And so it just kind of flows into itself naturally as a business kind of model. I think that tonight, the thing that's going to be the most important is making sure you all get to leave with what I like to call a pocket full of poses, right? So you're going to get to leave with the ability to feel confident going into any kind of portrait posing session with couples and be able to work through something that seems natural and also that you can reuse over and over again. And actually tonight, I just want to show you that I'm going to be using an actual posing guide that, let's see if I can get it to not have glare on it, that we've created exactly for situations like when you're on a wedding shoot or an engagement shoot, so that you can walk through things in a sequential way so that you're not getting lost. Every time I've done this class so far, I have people ask me, do you do this with every single couple? And the answer is yes, actually, because I know that if I can get through 50 poses in 20 minutes on any given portrait session, that I'm going to be able to have the deliverables that I need. And I'm also gifting myself the time to be creative and to get to the space that I need to so that I can try new things without sacrificing my deliverables. And so I think like when we're going through this tonight, if you have questions, let me know. But I kind of want to tell you that this was designed with a bridal gown specifically in mind, so that when you're posing a bride, I don't know how many of you do this on a regular basis. Usually the gown has got a nice train on it. And when you get that gown going, the thing that happens is that every time you move the bride, you have to replace the gown. So you've all seen wedding photographers or been the wedding photographers who are floofing the dress all the time. One of the great things about this sequence of poses is that the gown stays put and we kind of move slowly around it so that we can keep the gown in place, and it always looks beautiful in all of the shots. I'm sure if you shoot weddings, you know that everybody has a timeline for the day and nobody ever keeps it. And that's because always inevitably hair and makeup runs behind, or somebody's running late, or something happens. And we all know that when that happens, the first thing that happens is that they cut the dinner time short. No, not the reception, not the dinner, not any of those things. What they end up cutting short is the portrait time. And so we developed this to be specifically to be able to be done in 20 minutes. Now, today, it's going to take a little longer because for today's, I want to show you all of the key things that are happening within the poses so that you can repeat it with success. I think that it goes without saying, hopefully, that most of the time when you're posing couples or when you're photographing a couple specifically, that your subject really kind of ends up being the woman, because I don't know about you guys, but from my perspective, they're the ones that usually are picking the pictures, and they're the ones that need to look good in the pictures. And Eric did mention before that I do maternity and other types of photography in my studio. And one thing that I've learned over the years is that everyone in an image can look terrible. The kids can have their fingers in their noses. There can be all kinds of crazy things going on. But if the woman looks good and she's posed well and she's lit well, she will pick that picture. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to focus on the woman, but we're going to make the guy look good too. We're going to use him as a shield for her to make sure that she looks good in every single pose. And then we'll move through this in a sequential way. Now, I want to show you just how this is going to work, because we won't be able to go back and forth too much in terms of showing you the exact pages that we're using. But I want you to see that it's very simple. And literally, it's just pictures in the posing guide, because I didn't want too many words in case you were using it in the field. If you're going to use this as well, know that it's waterproof and tear-proof. And so the paper will not get destroyed in your camera bag, because if you're like me, you throw it in your bag and you throw a nice cold water in there that's sweating all over everything in your bag as well. So we made it like that specifically so that you didn't get lost. One other piece that we're going to discuss a little bit today, and just I want to show you the magic, obviously, of Profoto, because that's what brought us all here together. We're going to have different camera angles, and I know right now it looks like I'm just going to talk to you like this, but I promise that's not the case. So we'll have about 4 different camera views that we're going to use today so that you can all see our studio. And for those of you who don't know, I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. So right now it's 9:10 p.m. So it's very, very dark outside, but in the studio we have some lights set up, and you're going to be able to see what's actually happening in real time in the studio. One of the camera angles will be a cell phone so that we can show you exactly what we're doing on our triggers and on our lights. And you can see how we come up with the skin exposure that we need and things like that. And so for the lighting piece, I just want to talk for a second about this, because I know that this becomes a huge issue for a lot of portrait shooters and wedding shooters specifically. A lot of times you get on location and you find this beautiful spot, and your inclination is to get to that beautiful space. And then the next thing you want to do is take a couple pictures, and then you want to move to the next beautiful space. And so one thing we know is that it's very difficult to move bodies and get them back where we want them to be. So my encouragement to you is to get to a beautiful space and stay there and get everything out of it that you can. So one thing I like to kind of describe when I'm creating environmental light, when I'm outdoors shooting portraits for a wedding, and most wedding portraits are outdoors, a lot of people get confused about what they should be metering for. And I just like to tell everyone, when I get to the location, I decide where my location is going to be. And then I decide what the environmental light will look like. Where should the ambient light be? What do I want my scene to look like first? So once I've decided what the metering is for my scene, I have totally ignored my clients at this point. And it's 3 seconds worth of ignoring, but it's totally worth it, because I want that scene to be exposed properly. And I don't care what my clients look like in those 3 seconds that I'm deciding that, because I know that I'm going to light my clients. So it doesn't matter if they're super dark. It does not matter if I need to bring light to them, because I'm going to do that. So when I look at an environmental portrait, I see 2 pictures. I see the picture of the scene, and I get that exposure exactly where I want it. And then next, I'm going to decide what the light on my subject needs to look like and how to make it be intelligent, and so that the viewer, when we look at the images, is not confused by what they're seeing. Now, this is the part where most photographers end up getting tripped up, because they bring their light in, and I have seen those of you who consider yourselves natural light shooters, Totally fine to be a natural light shooter. However, know how to use light as well, because a lot of people get so discouraged with light, they'll bring in a light into the scene and they shoot with it once. The light doesn't do what they think it should do or what they want it to do. It'll either be really bright or really, really light, and they can't tell that there's even light on the person, and they get discouraged, and then they just move the light over out of the way and they say, I'm a natural light shooter. Now, I just want you to know you're not alone. That's totally normal response to light, because sometimes light can seem like it's really confusing. The thing that I love about Profoto is that it has made it so easy to come up with a proper skin exposure in no time flat, no matter where you are, no matter what you're seeing. And so today I want to show you how to do that, so that when you're out in the field, you look like a genius, because we all want to look like a genius. We're out there photographing people, because the last thing all of us want is to be fiddling with our lights forever, trying to figure out what the lighting should look like. So today, if I told you, you could literally walk out, choose your scene exposure really quickly, and then place your light, take one touch skin exposure, and then you're ready to rock and roll with your lights. Do you think that that's something you'd be able to do very easily? And I think in the many, many times I've taught this exact class, the response is a resounding yes. And so I just want to let you know, this is going to be super easy. I'm not tricking you. Nothing is crazy like that. I just want to show you how accurate Profoto's TTL is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop off of here, and you're not going to see me in this view. We'll go to another view. And I want to show you how exactly you're going to get that skin exposure very quickly. Now, this is a part where in the chat, I want you to feel free to ask questions during this section, because when I first show this, usually I get a response of, oh my gosh, that's so confusing. I don't know what's happening. And that's totally fine. And we're gonna do this a couple of times just to kind of get you versed in it so that you feel really good about it. The most important thing, remember, is deciding what the scene is going to be as your first image. And we're going to look at it as two separate images. And then you're going to place your light. And then we're going to do this one touch skin exposure. And let me get off of here and we'll switch views. And then I'm going to show you how we're going to do this step one all the way through to the end. And then I'll show you an image when it's done. So give me 2 seconds and we'll go through that. Okay. We need to open the gate. Okay, let me unplug this. Can you open the gate real quick, Riley? All right. There's no card in here. There's no card in here. So let me grab a card real quick and then we'll get rolling. So welcome to the studio. This is Riley and she's going to be working with us today. And our groom got caught in traffic, but he'll be here momentarily. And I'm going to let Tony grab a card and I'll continue just like showing. So we have the trigger on top of our camera and we are going to bring the trigger to TTL. And I'm going to show you in just a second, close up with Tony's camera angle on the phone, how we're going to turn the trigger to TTL so that you can see exactly what we're doing as we're doing it. We have the camera hooked up to tether so that you can see what's going on, but since I unhooked it, I need to put a card in here. We won't be able to see anything later. So let's do that. Okay, so I've got my light set up and we're gonna use, this is a D2, and then we have a D2 back here as well. That is a 1x6 strip that we're just gonna use to bring them out from this wall. And then we have a 2x3 here that we're just gonna use as hair light to separate them out from the background too. This is, by the way, a B10 Plus. Now, my light is set inside of this deep XL silver umbrella with a soft grid on the front. And then we have, I don't wanna leave this out because it is a light source, a cheap piece of insulation from Home Depot on the white side just to bounce back some light and soften things up a little bit on the shadow side. Now, Riley is here and we are going to do a quick skin exposure. And what that means is that I'm going to let you all look at my trigger with me. I have my trigger set to TTL. When I push this button, it goes to manual. Now, when it's on manual, nothing about the lighting will change unless I change it, okay? Now, once I turn it back to TTL, now if you know what TTL is, you can put it in the chat. I'm sure most of you by this point know TTL is through the lens, right? So the camera, lens, and lighting are gonna all talk to each other to figure out what the exposure is. The problem is that a lot of times when we use TTL on a broad sense, in a big scene, like outside and the sun is behind someone, the camera is looking at the entire scene trying to figure out what is the proper exposure for a bright sun and a shadowed person. So you end up somewhere in the middle, but not with an accurate reading. With ProPhoto's TTL, what we're going to do, we put it on TTL, and just for ease, I'm going to put my camera's lens into manual focus, and I am only going to include Riley's skin in this shot. So you're going to be able to see with Tony's camera, I only have her face in the shot. I only want her face. I don't want anything else, just her skin. Why? Because Riley is a totally different exposure than that back wall. So if I include that, TTL has to read the whole scene and figure out what the lighting should be. But when I just do the skin, I'm only going to be lighting the skin with the lighting, and that's all I want because I've already decided what my scene needs to look like. Now, once I have done that, I can lock down my trigger again to manual. Why do I lock it down to manual? Because now the light won't change unless I change it. So let me take a really quick shot and then I'll show you the back of the camera. Now remember, no gymnastics. I haven't done anything special. I only did a one-touch white balance. I'm just gonna get a really quick shot. Let me see if I can crop in a little further. There we go. Now, you all saw, just like me, nothing happened other than me just taking one quick one-touch white balance. This way. I don't know if you can see. We'll pull it up on the other view as well. But you can see Riley is exposed properly. She is not overexposed. I can still see all the details in her dress, right? Okay, now that we've done that together, I'm gonna come back and talk to you for just a second, and then we're gonna come back and do it one more time because I know you're probably gonna have a few questions. So let me come back and look, and then we'll go to the other view. Okay, switch me. He's probably at the door. Okay, I think, how are we doing, guys? Let's see. Can she go to full screen, select view with speaker highlighted? Okay, did you guys catch all that or was it confusing? Write to me in the chat. Here's the thing, is that when we did that one-touch white balance, a lot of times people get confused about why I'm doing what I'm doing. I wanna know if you have any questions so far on getting that one-touch skin exposure so that, not white balance, that one-touch skin exposure. Do you have any questions? I'm not certain if it will be shared. Eric, do you know? Okay, Christine,
I believe it will
yes,
be.
that's the thing.
I think.
Okay. Okay, cool. So we are going to show that again in the middle because our groom is going to be here in just a second. And when he comes in, I want to show you what happens when there's two people. And I also want to show you what it looks like. Let me just tell him. When you have two people, and the other thing is we have Riley, and you saw Riley, she has very fair skin. And our groom has darker skin. So I want to talk about too what I would do if I had a darker skinned person and a lighter skinned person, and where I would put them in relationship to the light. So yeah, Christian, so our darker skinned person is going to go closer to the light. And if you think about it, it makes a ton of sense because when we put the darker skinned person closer to the light, they're going to absorb more light, right? If we put Riley closer to the light, she's going to reflect more light. So she's going to be super bright. But our darker skinned person can absorb more light. So we can put them closer to the light without losing their skin. And that's a really important thing to think about. So what we're going to do next, as soon as we get our groom in here, we're also going to go through a couple things that I want you to know about posing women even separate of men. And so I think, oh, he's here. You look so handsome. All right, sorry, you guys are gonna see me being real with my models because I love all my people. So, okay, we're glad you're here safe and we're ready to go. Rolson's here and I'm gonna switch views again. I'm gonna go through the skin exposure one more time and then we'll be right back with you. Okay. So, Tony, I didn't switch views because I'm bad at this. Hello, how are you?
It's been
I'm
a
so
while.
glad you made it.
Thanks you.
Come on in. All right, so like I promised you, I want to show you the difference between what I would do with someone who, because I told you Riley's super light skin, Ralston has darker skin. We want to bring him over on this side closer to the light. And I'm going to make him take his rubber band off his arm. And these guys have never met each other before, I don't think. Have you?
No.
No, okay. So this is your husband. This is your wife.
We're moving kind of fast.
Okay, so we're gonna move Ralston closer to the light. Guys, step forward, just one tiny step. There you go, perfect. Now just come together, close the arm around each other. Good. Now, a couple rules, ground rules for my models. I never ask models who don't know each other to kiss, so don't ask me to because I'm not going to. But they will get close to each other and we'll treat it just like a regular session. If there's something that I'm showing you in terms of posing that might, like if we were gonna kiss on the cheek or something, we'll fake it, but you'll get the idea. So now that we have Ralston here and he's closer to the light, we're gonna get a one-touch white balance again, and I'll let Tony, or one-touch skin exposure. Why do I keep saying white balance? Anyways, we'll get that one more time and let y'all see it. And here comes the bear attack with Tony's camera. So now remember, we've already set the exposure for the scene. We know exactly what we're doing with the scene. And if you're just joining, I'll just go over it one more time. We have D2 here. This is an XL silver umbrella, my favorite PhotoSchool tool. And then this one back here is a B10 Plus, and this is just gonna act as a hair light. Over there, we have a D2 with a 1x6 strip with a soft grid, also another one of my favorites. Can I have them all? Let's just have them all. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we've already decided on the scene, so now we're gonna go into our trigger. And right now it's set to manual. That means that the light will not change unless I physically change it myself. So we want to change that to TTL through the lens reading, right? We're going to let the lighting do its work. Now we're going to come in and I want Riley's skin to be exposed properly, right? So I'm going to come in and I'm going to take a really quick white balance or skin exposure of Riley. Remember, I'm only going to let the skin be in this shot because I don't want the TTL to be trying to figure all this out. Like, because if we need to light that back wall, you think there's probably gonna be a ton more light coming out of my lights, right? We only wanna worry about the skin because we've already decided on the exposure of the background. So really, really close, just Riley's skin, her favorite shot of the day. And you can kind of see it's decided that's a great skin exposure. I agree. So let's come back and take a shot. But remember, the next thing and an important step is to lock down back to manual. Because if I keep it in TTL, what's going to happen? It's going to change again based on what's in my frame. We don't want that. So we're going to lock that down. We'll take a really quick shot again. And we'll just let you see what it's decided as a exposure. I think I'm leaned enough, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I'm going to hook this back in and we'll come back to this later and try it one last time before the end of the day. But I just want to show you guys some posing stuff because that's actually why we're here. But I'm so obsessed with lighting that I wanted to show you some lighting stuff too because it's such an easy trick. So let me grab this guide and we're just going to walk through. Okay, they're on. Okay, good. All right, so I'm gonna come over here with these guys and Tony's gonna be able to take a few pictures for us while we're working on this. But I wanna talk about some posing things really quick just to kind of get you guys all up to speed on track with how I approach a portrait session. So most of us, if you're normal, models not normal, okay. And so like, I'm gonna ask them to not be models tonight, because most of us, when we're photographing couples, those couples come to us and they have no idea how to pose. They have no idea what they look like on camera. Models, they spend their life figuring out what they look like in front of other people. And so they're really good at that. So a lot of times I have to like smack them because they start falling into pose really easily, and we don't want that. But another thing is that your average couple probably hates getting their picture taken. I mean, I do. So I kind of always assume that the people in front of me are not super comfortable being photographed. So when we're doing a portrait session with a couple, often because they're a couple, we think we should automatically jump into some really intimate poses. And it is my belief that when we start off less intimate, we can build into intimacy and get a lot better, more comfortable results with the intimate poses that we're looking to get. So when we start, what I'll do is do some less intimate poses and then move on from there. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is women and posing women, and how I always look at this no matter what. It doesn't matter if I'm doing maternity, family, boudoir, weddings, engagement sessions, it's all the same. Women's bodies must be shaped at all times. There's no reason for any woman to be having her picture taken like this unless you're recreating that farm picture with the guy and the girl holding the pitchforks. That's the only time you're allowed to do that. Okay, so that's rule number one. Rule number two is that we never, ever, ever, ever pose a woman's hands on her belly or a man's hands on a woman's belly unless there's a baby in there. That's the only time that we ever use hands on a woman's belly. Because remember, wherever your hands are in an image, the viewer's eyes will automatically flow to that area. And it makes sense because when you look at an image, you're always thinking, what is the person doing? And so when you're looking for what they're doing, they're generally either using their hands or their feet. So if their feet are on the ground, you're naturally going to go to their hands to find out what is going on in the image. So when we do hands on belly, we automatically raise a question like, why are the hands there? What's going on in there? And usually the conclusion is that she's already pregnant.
It's a no-go.
It's a no. She says no, not yet. Okay. So moving on from there, let's start with going through some of this guide and just walking through how to easily walk on scene at any lake or a sunset or whatever and just get through this. So Wilson has not done this yet. Am I right? You have not done this posing guide class with me yet. Okay. So Riley has done it before, so she's got to work harder because she knows stuff and I want her to act like she knows nothing. So we're gonna have them both turn around away from me completely, okay? And this is what I'm talking about with the wedding gown, right? I think Riley has black gym socks underneath. Yes, put a foot up. Yes! So, and that's great because we want her to be totally comfortable. So Riley is good, and we're just gonna lay the gown down one time. Actually, I'm gonna sit this down so I can do it. Okay, there's that. So we're just gonna sit this down one time really nice, right? And the hope is we don't have to do this again because we've done our posing right. Okay, there we go. Now, we'll just lay that out nice and pretty. All right. So why do I have their backs turned to me? Really good question, and I have a really great answer. So I always start with the back to the camera because it is the least intimate and intimidating pose that we can do. And every couple feels like they can do this. And so it's just a really quick confidence builder. So I'm going to have you guys hold hands and just turn your chins toward each other a little bit. There you go, just like so you're looking at each other. That's a super cute pose for me. I can use this pose if I am doing, oh, sorry, Tony, let me move out of the way. I can use this pose for the back of an album. I can use it for nothing if I want. It doesn't matter. I always do this pose. Now, my next favorite pose from here without even moving any feet or anything is to have them kind of look over their shoulders, hands go up above the heads, look to Tony, and you're just going to wave to him. And Rolson, bring your hand in a little bit more so that, yeah, and toward Riley and then up. Yep, now wave and look at Tony and smile. I almost always use this at the back of my wedding albums. I love it. It's super cute. And sometimes it works out perfect for what I want to do. Now, we're still not intimate. Totally fine. Now, Riley is standing just straight up and down. So one thing I'm going to have her do is put her weight on one hip or the other. Good. For the next pose, and you guys, I'm literally walking through and looking at these pictures and just flip booking and doing them. Ralston, bring your arm around her waist. Yep. Bring it around her waist. And Riley, bring your hand forward. So this is such a cute and intimate pose, and we can change things about it as much as we want. So for the first one, I'm gonna have them look at each other just like they kind of are. We're getting a little more intimate, but I still can't see them. Hearts are not open to the camera. Riley, switch your hip. We're gonna pretend like she's holding her bouquet in the front, right? Now I'm gonna just shift it a little bit by having Riley lay her head on his shoulder. Good, just like that. Just a really simple, lay it on the shoulder, super cute pose. Now, one thing I didn't mention at the beginning that I need to mention right now is that also when you are in these situations where you're doing all these shots, I promise we're going to turn around, be patient. I hear you all, even though I hear nothing, is that when you're in a situation like this and you're on scene like this, another thing to remember is that you have 3 shots within every shot. And so I highly recommend using a zoom lens, and we're not going to do this today just because we don't have enough manpower, but we could take, guys, lean back on his shoulder again, Rye. You could have just a close up, really close up, or you could have a full length shot here. So just make sure as you're walking through this posing that you remember you've got multiple shots within every shot. And it's important to remember to take all those different angles as well, because you never know what's going to fit where. Now for the next one, I'm just going to have Ralston take that back arm, and Riley is going to turn her chin toward him. Yep. And just going to push back her hair a little bit and come really close to her face. Good, just like that. Now, if this was a couple that's actually a couple, I would have them, him give her a kiss on the forehead. So just chin up, Ralston, pretend, good, just like that, real gentle, soft. And maybe even, Riley, chin a little more toward that shoulder and drop it just a little more, your shoulder, drop it. There we go, really pretty, super simple, easy pushback of the hair. Now, you might think, let's move away from that, but we're not gonna, we're gonna stay there one more time. Super intimate, right? I haven't changed much of anything, but this time I'm gonna have Ralston turn his chin back that way, and Riley's gonna kind of poke up and give him a tiny kiss on the cheek with his arm back around her waist. Boom, just a little kiss on the cheek. And another thing you could do here, and we're gonna talk about this for a second, is Riley, Ralston, turn your chin even more toward the back, and Riley kind of tiptoe up and whisper in his ear. Super cute. We can have her just whisper in the ear if we want. And I wanted to show you that because I want you to think about a couple things. Okay, you can stop for a second. Think of a couple things. Is it easier to move bodies or heads and hands? So when we're in this pose, nothing has really changed. So Ralston, really quick, put your hand around her waist. Riley, whisper in his ear. Pretend to kiss him on the cheek. Good, now let him kiss you on the forehead. And Ralston, bring your hand up to her hair. Right? We have not done anything but move heads and hands, and we've gotten a bunch of different things just by staying where we are and making sure that we're using all these possibilities. Full shot, 3/4, all the way. So I just like to say that, and I want to remind you, I know you get in a hurry and you're trying to get to the next location or get to the next thing, but use the opportunity to get all of these shots while you're here. Super easy. Now, Ralston, you can face this way again, just stay right where you are. I want you guys to notice, this is the same place that we started. And what's crazy is that we've already gotten a bunch of shots and we really haven't moved them at all. So it's kind of a cool way to look at it. Now, Riley, I want you to bring this hand up. There we go, just like that, and bring the other one through. Just kind of hug this arm, good. Just like that. Now, This doesn't seem like a big change, but Riley's going to turn her feet a little bit more toward him. Just a little teeny turn. Good, just like that. And now Riley, look back at the camera. Yes. Oh my gosh, that is so gorgeous. I'm not even looking at you from the right view, but I think it's beautiful. Now, another thing I just want to warn you about is, let's just say that Wilson turned his head back toward yep, now lean in to her once. Now, when you're doing poses like this, it's super important to remember that later you got to edit this stuff. So just be careful that ears don't have the sun shining through them and all those capillaries aren't like bright orange, because that's something you're gonna have to think about later as you're doing Photoshop. So I loved what they were doing at the beginning where Wilson's chin came back around, come up off of her. Yep, there we go. It's almost like leaning in. One other really good rule to write down is when I'm posing men and women, if a guy is kissing a girl, there's some weird thing that happens where guys always want to leave their eyes open, and it is so creepy. Yeah.
What if he's a lot taller than the bride?
What if he's a lot taller than the bride? This is a really great question. But let me just tell you one more time before I answer that question that is super creepy if people are kissing and their eyes are open. And later you will be in Photoshop trying to like make eyelids close. And so just like tell them to close their eyes because it's super creepy. The question is, can I answer that in a little bit? Is it okay? Because this happens a lot where someone's taller than someone else. If the groom is way taller than the bride, it's a lot easier than if the bride is taller than the groom. But each way is easy anyways, because Riley, I'm going to have you separate your feet a whole bunch and get shorter. So because Riley's wearing a wedding gown, it's not as obvious that she's made herself a ton shorter just by separating her feet. Now, if it's Rolson that's getting shorter, we just have to try to make sure that we can get his feet separated or get a nice bend on one leg without it seeming obvious that that's what he's doing, right? So separating feet is really easy. Come over here, I'm gonna demonstrate this real quick. I said I was gonna answer it later, but I'm just gonna answer it now. Okay, turn toward Riley. Riley, come up tall again.
Ava, come here.
Now, let's just say that we want him, he's way too tall, so come back, sorry, come back down. He's way too tall. This isn't gonna work unless I get an Apple box and just show people exactly what, well, I'll show it in a minute. Go back over there. All right, let's keep moving through this and then I'll get back to it. So go ahead, arm around the waist again. No, I'm sorry, arm up on his shoulder again. And let's, Riley, the opposite hand. Yeah, and you're gonna turn this way again. Good, just like that. Now, one thing I want you to notice really quick with this one is that sometimes this hand is gonna look awkward if it's just kind of like hanging out or whatever. So it's either like cross the hands in the front, right? Or maybe a hand in the pocket, just like he wants to do. And this is nice because it gives us shape again too to the pose. So here again, we can whisper in the ear, we can give a kiss, we can kiss on the cheek, he can kiss her on the temple. He can kiss her on the forehead, I guess, not really the temple. Okay, good. You guys are such good improvisers. I just love you. Okay, now really quick, foreheads together. And so you don't cyclops, close your eyes. This is so, so pretty. Good. And maybe like we just want to see this ring, right? Because he just spent $7 million on it. And so we try to bring the ring up front as often as we can to be in the front of the pose so that we're always seeing the investment that he made. Okay, great. Now, we really haven't moved the bride much. You can stay just like that. And now we're just going to have the groom turn totally this way. Good. Bride stays where she is. And we're going to go ahead and reach through. Now, remember, the dress still looks awesome and it's starting to do a really cool turn, but we don't have to keep messing with it every single time we take a picture. So bride is going to reach up through, right hand there, chin all the way down and around. Good. Now, one of my favorite things to do for this one is to have him hold the bouquet. I think it's super cute. It might be too like kitschy for you. You don't have to do that. But you can see he's got his hand in his pocket. And now one thing we could do just to make this even stronger is to bring the hand out and do either a thumb or 4 fingers. Whichever one you like. I think I would like 4 fingers in and just leave that thumb out. Good. Yep, just a nice, even and almost like pull back just a little bit. And here's why. This sounds like such a silly thing, but when we put the hands fully in the pocket, we end up with fists in there or like big bulges. And later it does look awkward and you're trying to figure out how to fix it. So just be aware, most groomsmen are wearing a suit they've never worn before, and they are going to put their hands fully in their pockets and dig them down deep. So just have them pull those hands out just a little bit. Okay, so from here, this is such an awesome pose for them. And then I'm just gonna have Riley come off just a little bit. Wilson, chin around just a little more. Okay, come on and lay on his ear, good. Just gonna block that ear a little bit. Now, remember, as you're going through this stuff, that you can change eyes, hands, and heads and never move feet. And you are so much better off because you get so much more out of it. So have, guys, look at the camera. Okay, big smile for one. Good, no smile. Okay, eyes down your bodies. Good job. So like a lot of times, because these guys are models, they didn't do it what people will do. Because if these were your customers and you were taking their pictures, if these were your brides and grooms, what? Oh, you want me to show alien hand?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just say it. They all know you're here. Tony's over there. I just told on him. One other thing to watch out for is alien hand is what I like to call it. So this hand or this hand could be coming out in a really weird way in some of these poses. And it looks like the movie Alien. And so it's just so weird. So just be careful that the hands that are supposed to be here are completely visible and we know what they're doing. Otherwise, it gets really awkward and we definitely don't want alien hand. So this one can either hide on the side. Same here, Riley, you can hold hands down here or whatever, just to make sure that we don't have alien hand. Thank you, Tony, for reminding me. What I was gonna say before Tony interrupted me was that when I asked them to look down, they looked down with only their eyes. Your clients will not do that. Your clients, when you say look down, will go like this, because that's what clients do. And it's our job as professionals to remind them chins up and just your eyes go down, right? Because every time you ask them to put their eyes down, their chins go with them. For some reason, their chins have their eyes in them or something. But again, this is another opportunity to get those really beautiful close-ups as well. And we haven't moved much at all yet. Everybody has just taken a tiny shift to the left. Another thing here, again, is Riley can whisper in his ear, tell him something funny. And this is great because she has no idea what's funny to him because they just met 5 minutes ago. And then the other part is she can give him a kiss on the cheek, you know. So just think of all the things that you could do here. Another thing that we could do is have them both kind of bring your chins back this way, lay into each other, and maybe kind of look off into the sunset or over here to my God hand or something. I don't know. There you go. You did it. So just make sure you're taking advantage of the pose that you finally get them into. One other thing we get a lot of questions about is rings. So we're going to have this stay exactly where you are. And we're going to have this hand come onto yours, Wilson. So just reach up and grab it and kind of maybe turn it this way. And you're just going to push her hand forward. And we're going to get a beautiful shot of this ring. Now, if this was me, I would be using a 1-2 lens. I would put the ring in focus. I would let them fall out of focus, but I would still have them either like whispering in each other's ears or smiling down at the ring or whatever to get that beautiful shot. So I'll let you take a picture, Tony, even though it probably won't translate because we're trying to get an out of focus ring shot. Good. Now, again, we're not going to move the bride too much. We're just going to turn straight forward this way. Good. Riley's going to grab his arm and hold his hand at the bottom. Good. Now, same kind of situation here. This is a great opportunity for him to give her some nice longing looks. And we haven't changed anything yet. The dress still looks good. We're not changing anything. Now, Riley, because she's a model, did this. Your bride is not going to do that. Your bride is going to stand like this. Put your legs straight. She's going to stand just like this, which is fine. But if we want to shape her, we're going to go ahead and move that leg. And let me just get this out from under your shoe. Good. We're going to shape that leg and cover up that gym sock, the black gym sock. So we want to get this shape, right? So let's go into basic posing for women. We want to make sure we get as many triangles as possible in our pose. What do I mean by a triangle? I mean this. I mean this. Now, I will tell you, if you have a bride who is fuller figured, they all wear strapless gowns now. And when they wear a strapless gown and the arm rests against the body, the arm becomes larger because it's squished against the body. It makes total sense. So we have to be cognizant of this. Riley has like stick arms, so I can't really show you, but I just promise you if she smashes really hard, you might be able to see the difference. But the point is, if this pose doesn't work like this, switch your arms, put this one on his hand down there, bring this one up on his here, and just lift off gently. We just want to make sure we protect. Later, I'm going to show you how to protect her arm with his arm, but I do like it better the other way. You can even do both hands down, doesn't matter. Just make sure we have that gentle lift off so that we don't have that, that evil arm monster, like I like to call it. This is another opportunity for them to look at each other. Really, really pretty. I'm blocking the light. Okay, really, really pretty. Come closer together with your faces. Good, just like that. And then one looking directly at the camera. Good, now switch. Ralston, you look at the camera. Riley, you look at him. Ralston, like you won the lottery. See, we haven't gotten so intimate yet, but he's super comfortable because he's a model. Hopefully my grooms will do this someday. Someday they'll be like you. And then again, we're still in a position where Riley could give him a kiss on the cheek. He could give her a kiss on the temple if she turns and looks toward the camera. All these beautiful opportunities, and we're still just kind of in the same pose. All right. So we've done this. I want Riley to hold on to him one more time, get in there and really snuggle against him with your, yes, just like that. So the closer we get here, the more intimate it becomes. And remember, at the beginning, we were thinking about intimacy, but by now they're kind of warmed up and they don't really think that I'm taking their picture anymore. They just think we're having fun together. So we can start to think about getting more intimate. Now, the most intimate possible pose, guys, close your eyes in that pose really quick. This is another great close up to here as well. So you can open your eyes so you don't fall over or fall asleep. Okay, so then the most intimate pose, right, is going to be heart to heart. So once we get into the heart to heart pose, we're going to want to be really cognizant of the fact that we've now moved into a lot of intimacy. So we're going to come heart to heart. So turn toward each other. Good. Riley, you stay right where you are. Again, the dress hasn't moved. Everything's all good. Now, this is the pose that I want to show you how your couples who are not models will get into this pose every single time. So put your arms around each other. Okay, models know that they want to protect themselves. And so they know girls are going to tuck their arms in, right? When your couples pose like this is what they do, okay? Because they went to prom. That's why they do this, I think. So when they do this, the problem is we leave this arm totally exposed. And if you remember, we talked about this arm. It's probably a bare arm. It's probably a strapless gown. And if your bride isn't a model or doesn't have stick figure arms, she's probably gonna be unhappy if her arms look really flabby. So we're gonna take this arm down here. And now this is the part where we get to use our groom or our guy to protect our girl. So what we're gonna do, Riley's gonna get him really close. I need you chest to chest. Now, we need to be able to use his hand to protect her, but we need to do it in a way that makes sense and doesn't look awkward. So especially with our fuller figured brides, we're gonna take this hand, we're gonna turn it up, we're gonna close the thumb down, right? Just close that thumb. We're just gonna come in and let him gently touch. Now, I wanna show you some pitfalls here. Pitfall number one, guy grabs girl and does this. This has happened to me. That's the only reason I'm telling you guys this stuff. So guy grabs girl, puts pits in her arm by grabbing her like that. No, 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 no claws, no claws. So the rules for hands, no claws, right? No Barbie doll hands, and no fists. Those are the 3 rules for hands. If you can remember that in all of your posing, your whole life will change. So we want those fingers to kind of be coming up the arm, right? Just a really soft, almost cupping, right? Just to make sure we don't have any pitting. Now, from this space, we kind of just want to make sure there's not a bunch of space back here with light getting through. So their back shoulders come as close together as possible. Riley can bring her arm down. And now we don't have a bunch of light spilling through. This is probably the most intimate we can get because we're heart to heart, right? So in this pose, it could either be, I mean, there's so many things here, guys, that we can do. Now, because I don't need to protect Riley because she's super stick figure-y skin, I'm gonna have him encircle her. You can still tuck, Ry. Tuck this one, encircle her. Good. So we can get super close, super intimate with this one because we can encircle her because we don't have to worry about how she looks. Now, one other trick to think about here is our light is over here. They're really close together. So it's possible he could block the light totally from her. So we need to be careful that we shift them at least enough that the light's gonna be able to hit both of them and not leave a big dark spot in the middle of them, okay? Now, again, here we are in this pose. The ring is in the front. We love that because we know he wants to see the ring in every picture because he has no money now. And so they're gonna look at the camera. They can smile at the camera. Again, he can back off just a little and give her a kiss on the temple. She can give him a kiss on the cheek. She can whisper in his ear, right? Make sure that his chin goes back and they're on the same plane. Good, good, good. Now, bring their heads together at the temple, right? Eyes go down the body. Good, really pretty, nice and intimate looking. Great job. Okay, now let's talk about, now that we're intimate, let's play a little bit. So one of the things I love to do with our couples is have them kind of play around with each other and chase each other a little bit. I want to remind you that when the time you get to, especially an engagement session or a wedding, this couple is not even sure that they should be together anymore after all that they've been through planning their wedding. Most of them are mad at each other, their families are fighting, they've spent all their money, and it is a high stress situation. So part of what we get to do is remind them how much they love each other, and playing really does offer that. So Riley's leg is bent, hands are around the waist, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna play a little bit. Riley's gonna try to get away. He's going to kind of come toward her, so she's gonna bend back. Good, they can laugh. Riley can kind of throw her head back a little bit, chin toward us a little more so we don't get just a total side angle. And one way to explain this is really interesting to couples is just to say your chin is going to go toward his shoulder and your chin is going to come toward her shoulder. And then we don't get a total profile. So go ahead and go play again. Riley, really lean back, laugh, chin toward his shoulder a little more. Good, just like that. Now, he could actually come in. Riley's going to lean back again. She's going to look toward the camera and he's going to actually come in and kiss the cheek. So he's going to lean all the way forward. Now, one way to do this is to make sure he's bending at least one leg. He can even snuggle her there, so turn your chin all the way and put your cheek on hers. Other way, there we go. Okay, that was perfect. So when that happens and something happens like that and you get that genuine laugh, it's actually really funny because now they're not nervous anymore about getting their pictures taken because we've already quelled the nerves and gotten rid of that with the intimacy piece. Now that they're face to face, another thing we like to do with playfulness is just allow her the opportunity. I need to talk faster. Do we have questions or am I good?
There's just one.
It's not done yet. She's got it.
That was earlier.
Okay. I can't see everything. Usually I'm over there. So it's hard for me to see everything that's going on unless I step back in your shot every time, and I'm not going to do that. So if you see something, tell Tony and he'll fix it. Or Eric. Here, I just want Riley to be able to like kind of reach up, and he's wearing a bow tie. Sometimes it's a regular tie. She can either do the jacket or she can just kind of do a chin even just with the finger to kind of bring him toward her. And here we're going to get really close, almost nose to nose, really intimate, hands on her waist. Yep, just like that. Really pretty, super. Love, love, love. Now we can do one with a laugh. A little bit of a laugh too. Good, just like that. Riley, try it with the collar too. Yep, just grab both sides and pull him towards you. Good, just like that. Okay, you guys, we're getting somewhere. See, you guys know each other now. I love it. So Ralston, turn that way. So guys, I just want to like give you a reboot. Look, this is where we started, right? We started like this. We turned like this. Riley turned toward him. He turned like this. Riley, see where you are. And then he turned like this. So he's done a complete circle. Did everybody get that? Because it's super easy. Nothing happened except he just did a complete circle. The dress still looks gorgeous. We haven't done much, okay? So now that they're face to face, I'm actually going to have him turn back around. Good. And you're going to step that way just a little bit, and you're going to face the camera. Good. Now this is the part where Riley's going to kind of come up over him. This is going to answer that question about height differences. So we want to create a look where Riley's kind of coming over his shoulder. So I'm going to have you separate your feet a whole bunch. Turn a little bit more, almost face on that light. Good. So Riley, you're going to come up over him and put your one arm through in the front. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Oops. Yep. Good. And Wilson, you can stand up a little more because she's going to come in and meet your face. Now, remember, when you're doing these poses, especially the ones over the shoulder, it's going to be really important to remember that you have depth of your cameras that you need to worry about. Make sure that they're on the same focal plane so you don't end up with one person with blurry eyeballs and stuff like that, because that's never any fun. Now, we could do hand in the pocket over here, and then we could do hand on her hand, but women's hands are always more beautiful than men's, especially when they have a ring on it. So we'll just bring it around like that. Now, if there's height differences, you see what he did. He's bent a leg and brought it forward. He could do even more forward with that other leg and lean into it. Now, if you've got a real height difference and you have to do something this severe, one thing I'll recommend is just keep it up here. Don't bother shooting the feet. So bring your leg back more again, like you did. Another thing he could do is really rely on one leg and bring a leg across. But we'll just leave it like that. Okay, go ahead if you feel like you can do it. And then that looks really dapper. And we've still solved the height issue, but looks adorable. Good. Okay. So that's one way to solve the height difference, but we're still going to go there with this in just a second. While we're in this pose, especially because he's wearing a bow tie, I want to have him go forward just a little bit. Riley, just turn around over him. When I want to do an over the shoulder shot with her behind him, I'm definitely going to run into an issue here because he is so much taller than her, which, yay, we finally found a male model that's taller than Riley. Thank you for being tall. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you separate your feet a bunch until you're like less. Yeah, there we go. We messed up the dress, but that's okay. I'm going to forgive it for now.
Sorry.
So Riley, you're going to come over again. Good, because what we're going to create here, I love that you were about to do this, and I want you to kind of do that. Let me see what it looks like. And then Riley's going to fix his bow tie. But remember, we need to come forward, and since you're going to be behind him a little bit, I'm going to have you switch your head to the side. Good. There we go. Now we know that we're going to be able to honor the light and keep everything the way that we want it. Now put your hands in your pockets once. And remember, we're not going to shoot his legs because we had to get him this low to be able to do this. And so we're just not going to shoot his legs, but we can shoot up here and it looks really cool. So just get that shot there. Riley, while you're there, go ahead and whisper something in his ear, make him laugh. Good. And then maybe just a little kiss on the cheek. Good, just like that. Super cute. Oh my gosh, why can't you guys be every wedding couple I shoot? Okay. Good job on that. Now, Rolson, turn facing this way. Riley, stay where you are. We're going to do the same thing, but over the back. So remember, the bride really hasn't moved much. We're just moving the groom around the bride. So Riley, hand one around the waist, one around the neck. Yes, the ring. There it is again. Now, as you can see, he is too tall again. So we have to bring him down shorter. So he's going to separate feet, bend, whatever he needs to do. Good, just like that. Now, if he was my groom, he wouldn't be laying on her shoulder like that. He'd be looking back there. And I want to show you why it doesn't work. So we have all these ears in here. That's the first thing. So we don't want all those ears because generally I'm shooting against the sun. So there's a sunset behind me and the sun is coming through there. And there's this, I don't know why guys' ears do this, but there's this bright red ear that's like glowing orb between them. So what we're going to do is we're going to have him lean off of her and then just chin this way. Good. And now lean in because now we don't have that glowing orb there. The other thing that we want to make sure of is that Riley's popped up tall enough to bring her chin over the shoulder. Good. Now we've got the ring. And one way we can add a level of intimacy to this pose is just bring that hand up and let that thumb touch the skin. And we have our ring right in front just like we want it. So for this pose, we can do really close up. We can do a little bit wider. And we have Riley look at the camera. We can have her smile. We can have her no smile. We can have her turn her head in and tiny kiss on the neck. Just a little, yes, perfect, just like that. Good job. You can stop because I see you shaking. Okay. So you can see where we've gone with that. Now, from here, I want to make sure that we look at the next piece, because the next piece is with him behind her. And this is a pose that I see people having lots of problems with. So let me just push this back. Good. And come right on in. Now, we did the pose with her behind him, but now we want to do the pose with him behind her. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to honor the light by having him be on the light side because he's going to be behind her. So there's going to be a better opportunity for him to catch shadow. Come over here. You can almost see. I just want you to show them. It's going to be hard for the light to fully get to him because he's going to be kind of hidden behind her head. So we're going to switch him to the other side. Good. Now, when I do this pose with my couples, I always take the guy's hands because they end up in weird places if you don't. So, and he's already like, I don't know what to do with these hands. So we're going to fix it. So we just take their hands and we just show them what we want them to do. Now, his jacket's going to pucker up and we're going to fix that really quick. Good, just like that. And now we want to make sure it's a loose hold, real loose so that you have space. Good. And then we might bring Riley's hair around a little bit on this side so that it's not quite so stuck to his beard. Good. And we'll just help however we need to help with making it look amazing. Good, just like that. And yes, I do touch my couples and tell them that I'm going to. Okay, so you might like all these hands up here, or you might hate it. For me personally, it's a lot of hands. So this hand might go back here on his leg. This hand might be holding the bouquet. There's a lot of different, okay, whatever we need to do, whatever you feel comfortable with. Again, if you like it up here, you can have 4 hands up there. I personally like to bring it down and not have quite as many, but I do like the ring up here. And I think it helps to cover up some of his fingers too. Now, from this pose, he can kind of lean in and snuggle her, right, with his head. Right, good. Bring your chin up. There you go, lean into her, really cute. Oh. Riley is 95 now.
You just aged 30.
Sorry. Okay, we're back with you now. Okay, so this hand, I would almost say, like just real gentle, right? Yeah, just real soft. I really would put it in the bouquet. I'd put the bouquet in that hand. Okay, so there you are. And guys, this is where I want you to think, like you can whisper in her ear now and tell her something funny because she's been doing that to you the whole night. You can give her a kiss on the temple. And Riley, bring your chin down just a little bit. Eyes down your body, Riley, as he's, yeah, very, very pretty. So intimate. Love, love, love. Now, Riley, lean your head this way again. And I want you to separate your feet a bunch. Come down a little lower so that you can just get a little closer to, and then to the neck and just kind of turn in and just, yep, chin up just a little bit to do that again. And then, yep, chin back that way. Good. Kind of can't see what's really going on, but I think it's good. Okay, good. Now, what time is it? Oh my gosh. You guys, it's going too fast. There's that gym sock again. Okay, so you can let go for a second, and I want to show you another pose that I absolutely love. Riley, take one step this way. I'm going to show you a couple more poses, but I definitely want to show you this one. This works on any size bride, and I want to show you how. So step forward here. Good. Riley, hand here. Shoulder. Bring this leg out really long. Not so long that you feel like you're going to fall over, but yeah, stand up taller, a little taller, Riley. Just lean in there. And you are going to curl around her just a little bit more. Good. Just like that. Let me see your arm, Riley. Yep, no, I want you to come this way so that her hand is literally resting on your neck. Good, just like that. So this is where we're going to run into troubles, right? Because the hands can be on the hips and the hands can be on the waist, but the hands can be nowhere near the belly. So we'll put that there, okay? This one, though, I want to show you how you can use his hand again to just protect her. So remember when we talked about how most brides have a strapless gown, and there's always like what I call, you know, your grandma used to tell you this was a bird, right? And so, so I don't know. Did your grandma tell you that? Maybe just my grandma said that. I don't know. Anyways, but you know, when you've got that wing, you want to make sure it's protected. So again, we can use him, and this is the nest for the bird, and we're just going to bring that hand gently there. No pushing in, no puckering, no fingers, no nothing, just real gentle, soft hold. And then I need you to just, yeah, there you go. Riley, lean into him with your shoulder. And then your head's going to go this way toward her. Good. Really perfect. Works for any size couple. You can do this pose. Riley, hopefully your hand's going to go down on your leg on this side. Bring it down really low. Good. Just like that. Let that be there. Perfect. And again, we're looking for expression. We're looking for the changing of the eyes and the hands and the heads, not for the feet to be moved every single time. Okay, really, really good. Riley, push this right shoulder back a little bit. Like actually turn your body that way. Good. Now, Rolson, you do that shoulder back. Good. Now, can you separate your feet enough to kiss her shoulder? Now, this is a close-up shot, but super intimate. And you guys remember how we started? No intimacy at all. There we go. Stand up straight again. Good. Now, Riley, turn and look at him. And now, really important too, Riley turned to look at him, and you guys saw what happened. His head came this way, and Riley's head went this way. Both not great angles for the camera. So it's important to remind people to tilt their heads the way that you want them to go. So Riley's going to turn and look at him, and I'm going to fix her hair. Good, just like that. It hurts. His head's going to go back that way, and shoulder's going to come forward just a little bit. Now bring your foreheads together, and Riley, this hand can go down on your leg, just real soft. Good, just like that. If they were a couple in real life, I would have them kiss at this point, but since they're not, we're not going to make them do that. Okay. Let's deal with height differences in a real way, real world. So I'm going to grab, do you want me to put him on a box or something? Actually, we'll just pretend. So Riley, you guys face each other again. So if you guys are like me, you're not going out to the park with an apple box and carrying it around with you, because if you're doing a wedding, you're already carrying around all your lights and all your camera gear and bottled water and everything else. So you do not have time for that. So, okay, height differences. If my bride is way shorter than my groom, so Riley, I'm just gonna for a second, yep, you got it. Just get short, get real short. Now, it would have to be an extreme difference if it's the guy is taller than the girl, because actually that works towards your advantage, because you can easily just have him get a tiny bit shorter. And he can do that by, like, if they're facing each other, I want to show you two things. Ralston, separate your feet a whole bunch this way. That's fine. But a better way is, now stand up really straight and tall. A better way is to have him take this back leg, and Riley, stand up straight, doesn't really matter. Take this back leg, and you're going to kick it forward all the way through. See that? Now he can still bring this foot forward too. He can still look good. I can still photograph him, and it doesn't look weird from this angle of the camera if his foot is kicked in. But if his feet are separated really wide, I'm not going to get any pictures like that, and it's going to look terrible. Again, put your arm around her, get really close, hand up over the, there we go. See, so I really can't tell. Not going to notice this, especially when Riley bends her leg. I'm not really going to notice this. It's not going to bother me. Now, if he's the other way, so Rolson, stand up straight and then separate your feet a whole bunch, we are going to notice this. It's going to bug the crap out of me. So I'm definitely not going to do that. So you can see that that's one way you can do it, is just that sweep through really does help. So let him do the sweep through instead. Now, where you run into some difficulty is if the bride is taller than the groom. When the bride is taller than the groom, then you're working at underneath the wedding dress, having her legs separated. But if you're on an engagement shoot, that's a little bit more difficult. We can still do the leg sweep and we can still do the hip. But just know that if you're in a wedding dress, you can separate the feet a whole bunch. But in other cases, like if you're at an engagement shoot or something like that, you may want to just make it worse. In other words, Just make it worse. You may have her stand on a bench and lean over to him, because even though she's taller, now it looks like it's intentional. And so we've done plenty of shoots where she's like up on a wall or up on a bench, and we're using that to our advantage just to even exaggerate the fact that she's taller so that it's not as noticeable. I know it sounds crazy and counterintuitive, but it's true. And then the last thing I kind of want to talk about and show you, oh, it just left my brain and I had it for a second. Oh, I can't remember. Anyways, any questions that I didn't answer, Tony? My gosh, you guys are such good listeners. Okay, I promised you that what?
What camera are you using?
Okay.
Do you love the poses? And left hand is nailing. Those are the best ones.
I am going to unplug one more time. I want to show you the light thing one more time, because, and then we'll do a Q&A real quick in person. But okay, so Tony's going to do bear attack. It's not that bad. And really quick, just so they know I'm not messing around with them, I'm going to change this light. Okay, I'll change it. So you guys can see I'm just like going to turn it to some random number, okay? Because it occurred to me I did it once and then it was like, well, it could, okay. Anyway, so right now we're on manual, and that is, the light is locked down. It will not change unless I change it. I'm going to prove that too. Okay, it's on manual. I'm going to take some shots and the light doesn't change unless I change it. Now, turn it to TTL. I'm going to take an overall TTL and you'll see the light changed to, you can't see it. Do it again. 4.7. Okay. Now I'm going to do TTL with just skin. Okay. So come together, love each other. Good. You guys are such a cute couple. Okay. I'm just going to do Riley's skin. I changed it to TTL. Through the lens reading is working for me now. I'm going to click that, and now look, 4.2. So if I had done my overall meter reading and left it, it would have been a half a stop overexposed for what I'm looking for just her skin, right? So now that I've done that, I'm going to lock it down to manual, right? And I'm going to come back and take a shot, and everything should be perfect. Look gorgeous, guys, because that's what you do. Perfect. And look at that. Easy peasy. Totally one touch. Okay? I'm going to come talk to you guys for a second. Okay, let me set this down. Okay, I'm back over here. Man, that went really fast. Okay, so what questions do you have? Is Tracie's posing book available for purchase? Yes. And I will put a link in the chat. Let's see if I can get to everyone. What other questions do you guys have? And does Tracie prefer to use continuous light for the umbrella? No, what you are seeing on the umbrella light is actually the modeling light. So that, because again, I told you guys it's a, tell me the words. It's very dark because we're in the east. We're on the East Coast, so it's very, very, very dark. Let me see if I can get you guys a link over there. If you go to our website, traciegphoto.com, and look up for photographers, you will find the posing guide there, and you're welcome to get it there too. Let's see, what other questions do you guys have? Because we've got a few more minutes that I can answer some questions, and it could be about posing or lighting, whichever one you prefer. I see Juan's hand raised. Is the 2x3 RFI or OCF? Eric, are you asking me or everyone here?
I'm asking you, sorry.
Okay, so that is the OCF because I have it on my B10 Plus. Yes, yes, yes. So if you're interested in what I'm using today, oh, posing hands, Paul, yes. Okay, lots of questions. Okay, the tips on posing hands. So if you caught the part where I said this, I really, really mean it. No Barbie doll hands. And if you had a Barbie doll, ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Barbie dolls have hands that don't really have fingers. They just have indentations. If you use a fist. Fists mean you're angry. And if you use a claw, everyone is wondering what you're after. So the trick with posing hands is literally having people, I literally will have people shake out their hands and just gently place them. It's literally like open fingers, very soft, and maybe leading with the middle finger, but not like that. Don't go there. So yeah, not leading with the middle finger like that, but leading with the middle finger so that you have a little separation of the fingers, if this makes sense. Just a little more dancery hands almost. How does that? Okay, you have 3 strobes for this shoot. Yes. So we have a D2 in front inside the umbrella that you all are looking at with the modeling light on. We had a, I'm gonna change to this view really quick so you can see it. So you see the umbrella there on the left-hand side with the soft grid on it. And then you see in the back right, 1x6 with a grid on it as well. Oh, Tony's gonna show you. Let me, okay, Tony, there you go. Tony, where are you at? Oh, that's weird. Hold on, let me. Okay, Tony, I'm not good at this. Hold on. Tony's usually in charge of this part. Okay, there's the umbrella with the D2 on it. And then there's a 2x3 with the B10 plus. And you can see it has a grid on it as well. I like to use grids because I like focusing my light. And then here is the 1x6. Such a great edge light for full bodies, and that is also on a D2 with a grid. Can we please see the pose where the guy was to the side of the bride to demonstrate when one partner is much taller than the other partner with his legs stretched? Oh, you want to see the opposite side? Is Riley still in her wedding gown? Riley, are you still dressed? Okay. She's not dressed anymore. Sorry, we missed that one. Any other questions that you guys have? If she comes out, I'll still show you, even though she's not wearing a wedding dress. I think you'll still get the point. Oh, let me switch back to this. Tony turned off his camera, so just me talking with a black screen. Tony, I told you this is not my strong suit. Okay. So we've got about 10 minutes, and while I have you for these last 10 minutes, I want to talk to you for a second just about a couple other things. So the part about the intimacy is really, really true. It's like once you get yeah, people are asking again, is the pocket posing guide available for purchase? And yes, it is. And when you look in the chat, I've put a link to the website there so you all can see it. And when you go to traciejamephoto.com, just look for the for photographers section. And if Tony will look it up for me, I can copy paste it if you get it off my phone. Anyways, I wanted to tell you that the intimacy piece is really, really important because most of us don't enjoy getting our pictures taken. If you're like me, I actually hate it. So just remember, when we ask people to kiss on camera, it's really uncomfortable and it's very difficult to get to that point unless you get through a few poses at first. If you've done an engagement session with a couple, it's probably a lot easier. If you haven't done an engagement session with a couple and you're on the engagement shoot, you need that build up time to get to that intimate part. Thank you, Dan, for putting that up for me. I was not prepared for all that. What'd you say? Someone else put it up for me, but thank you, Tony. Dan beat you to it. Anyways, come here, Tony, and say hi. This is Tony. And so I just want you to see the man behind the curtain. This is the all-powerful Oz. He makes sure that everything runs smoothly and that all my batteries are charged, because that's not something I ever remember. And then also, the last thing is if you are looking for any kind of mentoring or anything, we do have mentoring available. And I know that lighting can be tough sometimes if you're not used to it, but I promise you, if you use this technique of getting that one touch skin exposure, it will make your life so much easier and your confidence level will be there. And so if you have Profoto lights and you haven't done that before, please reach out to Eric or myself. I'm happy to walk you through it because it is literally life-changing. And for those of you who don't have Profoto yet, I just want to say one other thing. I have people tell me all the time, I want to wait until I learn light to get good lights, to make an investment in lights. And I just want to tell you, from my perspective, that's backwards thinking, because then you're working with lights that are way more difficult to work with, and you get even more discouraged about light. If you buy the lights that you need that will give you the ease of use that you're looking for, you will be able to transfer into light, strobe light, so much more quickly and easily without all the headaches that most of us go through with regular flash photography. So that is why I love Profoto so much and why I am such a fangirl. So if you have questions about that, reach out to me. You all have my website now. You can email me directly from there. You can set up a coaching consultation. You can get the posing guide. You can just email me to tell me whatever you want, and I'm there to listen to you. So if anybody has any other questions, put them in the chat. We'll keep talking for a few more minutes. And Eric, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, no, Tracie, I just got to say that was phenomenal as always. And the information you have is so good. And you're so hilarious with the things you say too. It's so natural. It's just, it's fantastic. I appreciate all the comments I'm getting from everybody too. So far, Tracie, everybody's really enjoyed it. Nobody said anything negative yet. So that's good, right?
You guys better not. I have your names.
I've met some good people on the chat so far that I've not met. So this has been great. And if anybody has any questions too, I'm going to post my email on the bottom as well. So if anybody has any Profoto related things, I can certainly help you out there too. But yeah, Tracie, this is.
Can I answer one more question really quick? Because there's a question that came in, and this is really important. The skin photo works if you are outside using only one OCF. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Now, remember, our job is to figure out where does the light go? What is the direction of light that I want to use, right? Once you have your light in place, whether you're outside or inside, it doesn't matter, because remember, all you're exposing for is the skin. So my shot is literally like this. I have zoomed in all the way so that only the skin is going to be in that shot. And it doesn't matter if I'm outside or in the studio, that's the way that that is going to work every single time. So remember, get your first picture of your scene and then create your second picture of your person by using that skin exposure. Yes. Is that it?
I think that
Yay.
might be it.
That was fun.
Okay. Well, I think we'll probably sign off. We've gone over our time, but that's what we normally do anyways, because it's just so fun. So thank you, Tracie. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this. I left my email there, too. If anybody needs anything, please feel free to get a hold of me or Tracie or anybody. So, all right.
Yep. Great job, guys.
Okay.
See you soon.
Woo!
Thanks.
Thank you, Tracie.
Bye.
You're the best.
Thanks, guys.
You guys have a great night. Thank you.